Do not forget to subscribe to a channel and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Story number 1: The house is haunted. I am not one of those people who believe in myths and ghost stories, but rather I am a girl. I am always looking for logical reasons for everything that happens, and what people think in folk myths, and I am also looking for a reason for what stories of this kind are circulating on the internet, because I am the girl who she debunks the absurdity of these seemingly extraordinary stories. Despite my search for the logical reasons for the supernatural, I tried to find a logical solution to what happened to me later, but I must admit that I was not able to, since it all began when one of my friends invited me to spend the night in their house, which is old house dating back to 1900 AD, recently restored in Gothic style. Many times, the residents of this property who frequented him commented that there was a lady who appeared in the basement, as this house became like a ghost house, although of course I did not believe them, as these residents wanted to scare all people constantly, and when night fell, sleep became a companion for us, especially after we ate fast food, and we also played some games, and we also talked about some horror stories. It was time to sleep and get ready to rest in the bedroom. Then I woke up at dawn after hearing a noise, until I discovered that this sound was coming from the kitchen side, and since my girlfriend was not present next to me in the room, so I thought that she went to the kitchen to have a snack. Or to get breakfast, since I didn't know she had gone to the bathroom. The noise from the kitchen increased, so I went towards the kitchen to see my girlfriend, until I heard the noise clearly when I approached the kitchen, where someone was dealing with utensils and using the frying pan to fry something, and the smell of cooking pork and some other foods was clear. However, when I looked inside the kitchen and all sounds stopped, I could still smell food flying in the air, but the pots were in place, and the stove was empty of any cookware. I felt paralyzed for a while, and I could tell it was just a dream, but I know it wasn't, so I went back to the room to try to convince myself that I was imagining what had happened. And the next day, my friend's brother's comment did not reassure me, as he said that he could not sleep all night because of the noise that he thought his sister and I were causing her. But it was not the case. My friend seemed to understand nothing of what she was hearing from her brother, but I did understand well. Hadith origin. After going through this strange experience, I had to admit that there may be things that go beyond our understanding, and it seems that this woman is still in this house, which she somehow inhabits. Story number 2: Ouija board. We have heard a lot about the so-called Ouija board, and for those who do not know it, it is a game board with a disc that the players move and ask the game some questions, so the disc moves over the letters to indicate the answer, and some see that Ouija is just a myth or a normal game, and some who play it claim that it is actually haunted. Exclamation mark. This is one of the thousands of stories that some have reported about the Ouija board, and it is on the tongue of a young man living in London, United Kingdom, who had a friend who pretended to be a spiritual mediator. The young man was very curious to see what he was doing with the board and asked him to show him what he could do. The young man says, "My friend took out a Ouija board he made himself at home from an antique wood and wrote on it in black ink. Then we sat on the floor with my back towards the wall while my friend sat 6 feet away and put the plate on his feet and put a cup upside down on it, but he did not touch the cup and said to me he will move on his own. We sat like this for 15 minutes, during which my friend tried to meditate and go into a coma, but the neighbors were mowing the lawn, and the wife of the man in the basement was screaming, so my friend said he couldn't concentrate and he would try again later. Then he rested the board on the wall to his left and the mirror was facing the wall. When he sat, I heard him say, 'Come on, Robert. Where are you?' Robert is my friend's cousin who died a while ago, and suddenly I found all the hair in my hand standing and I felt that the shape of the whole room had changed. The corners of the whole room had disappeared and the room was no longer square. It was strange. Then the mirror began to vibrate violently, and I heard the sound of the glass and I thought the mirror was going to shatter, and the sunlight was reflected from the mirror all over the room, and he raised my hand to hide my face because I thought it would explode in my face. Then it stopped vibrating and suddenly its surface became liquid. Then two hands came out of this mercury and I was completely dazed. Then I saw this mercury coming out of the mirror in the form of a strong man's body, and I felt that he was looking at me, and at the same time not believing and saying to myself, is this real? Then suddenly the shape disappeared and the mirror returned as it was again, and the room also returned to normal and started hear the neighbor's voice and the weeds around me again. During that experience, my friend was unable to move and was only looking at my face. And after it was over, he told me that he saw everything happening in the room inside his mind. And I left my friend's house feeling as if something was following me, and I decided not to go there again. See you in the next video. Goodbye.